When thinking about starting a vegetable garden or when planning this year's garden, one question I get a lot is, should I buy seeds or plants? Well, the answer is, it depends. Confused? Well, don't be. It depends because some vegetables do best when you grow them from seed, whereas others can be started ahead of time, either by you or by your local garden center, and then plants can be planted in the garden when the weather's warm enough. In this video, I'm going to focus on the vegetables that I think are best started by planting seeds directly into your garden. I dive into each of these vegetables and how to grow them best in greater detail in other videos in the vegetable and flower section. I'll cover the vegetables that can be bought as plants or started indoors to give yourself a head start in another video. The first group of plants are the radishes. I'm going to show you 3 different varieties here: Donato, Crunchy King, and Bacchus. And you'll see that the instructions are all pretty much the same, regardless of the variety. The instructions on the seed packet tell us that radishes can be planted anytime starting in early spring. This tells us that radishes grow best in cooler weather. In fact, down below on the seed packet, the instructions tell us that hot summer temperatures can cause misshapen roots and poor quality. Radishes don't like the summer heat, so you can think of radishes as something you can grow in the spring and in the fall after the heat of summer has passed. The next group are cucumbers. Here's one variety that I like. The instructions tell us that cucumbers are really sensitive to cold, so cucumbers are most definitely a summer crop. The instructions say that cucumbers can be planted indoors 3 to 4 weeks before planting them outside, but if the roots are disturbed when you transplant them into the garden, then the plant's probably not going to make it. So, for that reason, I don't take these chances, and I only plant seeds into the ground when the soil's warm enough. The instructions say to plant the seeds outdoors when the soil temperature, and not the air temperature, when the soil temperature is at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is usually around the end of May in my area. Cucumbers are going to stop growing if the temperatures drop below 50 degrees at night, and frost will most definitely kill them. Now the next group of plants are the squashes, which are very similar to cucumbers in terms of how to grow them. Summer squash include varieties like yellow squash, spaghetti squash, and zucchini squash, and they grow and start producing fruit after about 50 days, whereas winter squash like acorn squash, butternut squash, and delicata squash start producing fruit a lot later after 90 to 100 days. Winter squash have thicker skins and they can keep for several months after harvesting. Summer squash usually have to be eaten within a week or sooner. Like cucumbers, the instructions say that plants can be started indoors 3 to 4 weeks before transplanting out into the garden. But if the roots are disturbed during transplanting, then the plant is probably not going to make it. Now, I don't take chances, and I only plant these seeds outdoors when the soil temperature is at least 70 degrees, again, which is usually around the end of May. Now the next group of plants are the peas and the beans. And while peas like cooler weather and beans like the summer heat, they do have one thing in common. They can all form a symbiotic relationship with bacteria and grow these little what are called nodules on their roots. The bacteria in these nodules can take nitrogen gas out of the air and convert it to a form that the plants can use through a process called nitrogen fixing. Coat the seeds with an inoculant before planting, and these nitrogen fixing nodules will grow on the roots of your plants, and your plants will flourish, and you'll improve the soil in the process. Now peas like cool weather and can be planted as soon as the soil can be worked, as soon as the ground has dried out enough so that the soil is crumbly. Peas can grow over a really wide pH range between 6 and 7.5. And when planting, make about a 3-inch wide row, that's about 1 inch deep, and sprinkle the seeds all throughout that row that have been treated with inoculant. Cover the seeds and wait for the plants to emerge. If you're going to do more than one row, keep the rows about 4 feet apart so that the plants don't compete with each other, as they can grow pretty tall. Now beans, on the other hand, don't like cool weather at all, so we'll have to wait until mid to late May for the soil to be warm enough for us to plant our beans. Beans need heat and full sun to grow, and while I guess I could, I've never started beans indoors. I plant them in the ground when the temperature is right. Plant seeds about 2 inches apart in rows that are 18 to 24 inches apart. And the last group of plants that I want to cover are carrots. With carrots, the carrot is the main root, or what's called the taproot of the plant. and you sure don't want to break it. So for that reason, your carrot crop can be completely destroyed if you try to start them and then transplant them into your garden, and the taproot is damaged in the process. So I only plant carrots from seed right out into my garden. Carrots don't need a lot of room between the plants because the carrot grows straight down into the ground. Plants can be spaced 2 inches or so apart in rows that are about 16 inches apart. The information on the seed packet tells us that we can plant 30 seeds per foot and then thin the plants to about 2 inches apart. I usually plant them about 1 inch apart and thin to 2 inches after a month or so. Now there might be other plants that I may have missed, like scallions, but these are the most common crops that I like to plant from seed.